I know what has happened. That's amazing. So we lost. Hello, I am Uncle Mike, and this is Mission 7 of my Kerbal Space Program career mode on the Xbox One, in which I'm trying to put people on the surface of Mars, or Duna in the game, following SpaceX in the real world, which is to put people on the surface of Mars. And so we are here for the flight and debrief video of Mission 7. We have updated our vehicles with new science, and so we are going to go ahead and get into doing probably 2 flights here with 2 past vehicles that we have updated. Let's go ahead and go here. We got the Phoenix Beta Mark II ready to go. Everything looks good. It's got the new Science Junior. It's got science on it. So let's go ahead and return to flight, and let's get to the launch pad. Let's go ahead and send the updated Phoenix Beta Mark II with Jebediah in the cockpit. Let's send it to space. We are ready to go. It's a beautiful day here at the Space Center. Everything's looking good. Let's go ahead and do our standard checklist here. Staging is go. Throttle is 100 and go. SAS is armed and go. Jebediah is in the front seat, and he is go for launch flight. We are go. So here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff of the new updated Phoenix Beta Mark II, and the return to flight after the tragic loss of Valentina in Mission 6. So here we come up on 50 meters per second. We are now starting our pitch profile here, and we are now just pitching over onto our back. That is our standard launch profile here. Everything's looking good. Jebediah is looking good. Thrust is looking good. We are go. 125 meters per second, 2 kilometers in altitude. The pitch program is looking good here. Heading is a little bit off, a few degrees off. Let's go ahead and get back to 090 on the heading. Everything is looking a-okay. 250 meters per second, 5.5 kilometers in altitude. We are continuing our pitch program here as we return to flight and return to space with our updated vehicles. Go ahead and gather that science. All right, 10 kilometers in altitude, 400 meters per second. Everything is looking a-okay and amazing. So here we go. Coming up on 15 kilometers in altitude, 550 meters per second. Continuing the pitch program. Everything is looking good here. We're going to go ahead and do a full throttle flight. I am not going to back off on the throttle here. We're going to continue our pitch program. 23 kilometers in altitude, 850 meters per second. 3 Gs on Jebediah. We're getting some heating effects up here in the upper atmosphere of Kerbal, but we are okay. All right, 32 kilometers in altitude. Continuing the pitch program. We are about to go through main engine cutoff. Main engine cutoff. We are now going to go ahead and go through a little bit of a coast phase here as we have separation. There goes that main stage. Everything is looking good. We are just going to go ahead and do a coast phase here because I'm not really looking to get to orbit. We do have one contract, which is to get science from space. So let's go ahead and go into map view and look what we've got here. And there is now our suborbital flight up to 120 kilometers. So not really too interested here in doing anything, but as you can see in mission, I think it was mission 5, we unlock where we can actually create our maneuver node. So let's go ahead and add a maneuver here and just see where we can then do a nice water splashdown. That's a nice looking flight right there. I like that. So let's go ahead and save that so we have it. So that way we have an idea of when we need to do a engine burn to kind of flatten out our trajectory. But now we are in space. So Jebediah is up here. So let's go ahead now and do our science. So there is now 25 science. Let's go ahead and keep that. Now, can we close these doors for re-entry? Yes, we can. So let's now close those doors. Looking good. Let's go ahead. We probably can do some science here, but we're going to get very little. So let's go ahead and see 0.5 science, but let's go ahead and gather that. And then all of our barometric and temperature readings are going to give us 0 because we have already done that. So we'll save those for splashdown just to see what's going on. We've already done a crew report. I cannot do an EVA because I have not unlocked that. So let's go ahead and check on the crew report. There's 5 science. Let's go ahead and grab that. All right, let's go ahead now. We're coming up on our apoapsis, our highest point of our flight. It's about a 30-second burn to do what we wanted to do. So let's go ahead and activate that Terrier and let's burn. Here we go. Let's go ahead and do our maneuver, flatten out our trajectory. Not looking for anything very precise here or accurate, which we can talk about. But so yeah, I'm just looking to flatten out for re-entry. So Jebediah has a much more comfortable re-entry. So that's what we're doing here. Coming up on engine cutoff here with our burn, and here we go, and engine cutoff right there. So there is now, let's go ahead and remove that maneuver node. Now you can see a much flatter trajectory. Should have a splashdown. So looking good. I like what we've got here. We've got that heat shield ready to go. It's going to be a little bit of a different re-entry profile because we've got some added length to our vehicle where that heat shield is at. So the vehicle is probably going to come in with different aerodynamics, but I think we're going to be okay. So let's go ahead and get rid of now that second stage here. So we are going to now separate. There goes that stage. We are now ready for re-entry. Let's go ahead and get Jebediah roughly with his back here. That is going to change. All right, I will see you at re-entry interface. All right, we are now in re-entry interface here. We have entered the atmosphere. Going to go ahead and get the vehicle set up on retrograde. Going to turn SAS off, and now we are going to go ahead and enter the atmosphere. See what the aerodynamics of this vehicle is going to do for us here. Because we have that added length of the Science Junior package, the vehicle is not going to be perfectly stable in an orientation. It will be stable, but it will not be lined up. It's probably going to have some aerodynamics to it, so it won't stay completely aerodynamically centered on retrograde, which that's okay. I do have a way that we can manipulate or kind of control some of the heating effects that you see going on here on the Science Junior. And one of the things that we can do is we can introduce somewhat of a roll into the vehicle, which should help with some of those heating effects. Maybe, oh! Nope, we just lost the Science Junior. This is not looking good. This is not looking good at all. What happened there? Okay, well, we had too steep, so we lost the Science Junior. This is now twice in 2 missions that we have just designed. All right, well, I will see you at splashdown. All right, we are 100 meters here from splashdown after losing the Science Junior and the heat shield. And so a debrief real quick is, I think the trajectory was still just too steep. So we just had too much heating effects. And so there we go. So Jebediah is safe, but it wasn't really a successful mission because we lost the Science Junior. We're going to need to look at a flatter trajectory. So we are going to reset Jebediah here and the Phoenix Beta Mark II. So we did do a contract. So let's check down here in our notifications. And we did do that. So we did get some, but we lost science, but we gained some fun. So not the best way to end this, but it did. So I am okay with that. What am I doing? There we go. Go ahead and get rid of that. So let's go ahead and go back in here. So we missed the science. So what else can we do here is it asked for, we had a contract of, would return to the spacer. We also had a contract, I think I saw, that was to gather science from around the moon. So we can do another flight to go around the moon. So let's see here. Observational surveys, science from around, from data from space around the moon. We know we can do that with the Phoenix Beta Mark IV. What else do we have in terms of from the surface? So let's go ahead and get this one, and let's go ahead and go back around the Mun with the Phoenix Beta Mark IV, because that would also allow us to test our re-entry and not lose the Science Junior. Let's go ahead and now go into the VAB. Let's load up the Phoenix Beta Mark IV here in Mission 7 now. After losing that Science Junior in re-entry, let's go ahead and now open up the Phoenix Beta Mark IV. There she is with the new Science Junior. Let's go ahead and just check staging. Everything looks good here. I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it. So yes, let's go ahead and save it. Let's go ahead and check that Jebediah is in the front seat. Jebediah is in the front seat. Let's go ahead and send Jebediah to the launch pad. And let's go ahead and do a moon direct again. Let's see where the moon is at. We might need to wait for our launch window to get a moon direct. I don't want to have to go up, get into an orbit. And I don't see the Mun anywhere. So let's go ahead now and let's warp. Let's go ahead and wait for that Mun to be on the horizon here. Which case then we will do a Mun direct. There it is. All right, so we are now. Let's check. Staging looks good. Throttle is set 100 and go. SAS is armed to go. Jebediah is looking good to go. We are T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff here of the Phoenix Beta Mark IV in Mission 7. Return to flight, and now we are going to go around the Mun again to complete that contract and also use the Science Junior around the Mun. So here we go. We are into our pitch program. 125 meters per second, 2 kilometers in altitude. Got a little bit of a roll here due to some asymmetry in the vehicle. All right, looking good. Staying on that 090. No, we've got a little bit of that roll built in just because of some of the aerodynamics with our struts and our fuel lines. We are continuing our pitch program. 330 meters per second. Got some aerodynamics going through max Q here. Got a big roll going in, having to really fly this 10 kilometers in altitude, coming up on 2 Gs. Gonna go ahead and just push through that. Just keep flying, even with the roll. Looks like the roll's gone out here, so a little bit easier to fly. Coming up on booster cutoff and separation, 20 kilometers in altitude. Coming up on booster cutoff and separation. Now we are just going to continue fly the vehicle. Pitch program looking good, 30 kilometers in altitude. Had to really fly the vehicle there. But we are now just going to continue our pitch program. We are now going to shoot for the moon, just like we did when we did the mission to orbit and to just do a moon flyby. We are just going to continue this. It'll be a little bit easier because now we've unlocked our maneuver nodes. We can actually design our maneuver. So everything is looking a-okay here with this flight. Everything was looking a-okay in the previous flight until we got to re-entry. So all right, everything's looking good. We are now going to go ahead and shoot for the moon. Go into map view, and here we go. And just stretch out our trajectory all the way to the moon. All right, there we go. We have now got an encounter with the moon, and we are going to go ahead and do, since we have plenty of Delta V, we are going to go ahead and get that free return. So let's go ahead and just a little bit more power as we go ahead and go add more Delta V. Now we're going to do that classic free return trajectory. There we go, where we go around the moon. Go ahead and pin our Kerbal periapsis. Go ahead and get that down into the atmosphere. There we go, 35 kilometers. So that way now we'll go around the moon and just come right back to Kerbal. Don't really need to do any type of engine burn there. We've just added enough Delta V to do that. And so that is a classic Apollo even trajectory and mission planning. So there we go. So we can go ahead and, even though it is tough to see here, let's go ahead and turn SAS off, save that battery power, bring up our, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is, I think maybe we'll go all the way just with the complete vehicle here, not even do a separation, and we can do a separation on the return. So I will see you around the moon. All right, we are now out here at the moon. There it is. We are now in space around the moon. I'm not going to go low because once we come back and we start to really practice and think about going to the surface of the moon, that is when I'll do the science there. So right now we are still, as you can see, 1,285 kilometers above the surface of the moon. So let's go ahead and now do the science here with the Science Junior. 50 science. So we're going to keep that. Everything else we probably have done, so there's really not going to be much science. 4.6, so I'll take it. Now we've already done, I would think, yes, we have done, so that's, we don't need to do the temperature reading or the barometric reading. So there we go. We have come out to the moon, space around. We have a contract here, which is transmit or recover scientific data from space around the moon. And we've done that. So now we just need to safely return. All right, so that's what we are going to do now. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go around. All right, so now we are coming back here. Let's check our periapsis. Our periapsis is still 35 kilometers. So I think I dodged the bullet with that warp there, which got me into trouble on Earth. That is just a game interface issue that I have there. So, all right. So since we're here, everything is looking good. So one of the things that we can do if we wanted to is use some of this booster when we dip back into the atmosphere, is to then slow down using what's left in this booster, because we will skip off the atmosphere as we just saw in the time warp. So let's go ahead and zoom into or warp to a little bit closer here. So let's go ahead. There we go. Warping, warping, warping. There we go. All right, SAS is off. So let's now go ahead and see if we can get this wheel. No, it's just, we don't have the reaction wheels to do this. So we are going to go ahead and separate this here. So, and we've got now separation. There we go. Get rid of that booster. Let's go ahead and activate the Terrier, because we got the Terrier full of fuel. So we can still do the same thing of the aero braking, but now we'll just do it with the Terrier. All right, so we'll go ahead and get a little pitch here. Get into retrograde. Get ready for, again, atmospheric interface. And we'll activate this Terrier, and that will bring us, slow us down much quicker. Do some aero braking. So here we go. Everything is looking good now. I'm gonna go ahead and time it. So I'll see you in basically in re-entry interface. All right, we are now here in re-entry interface. So we are going to get retrograde here. And now what we are going to go ahead and do is we are going to burn this Terrier. So here we go. Terrier is activated, and we are, you can see how fast we can now bring that apoapsis back down here. Go ahead and look at what our periapsis is doing. There we go. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and separate that Terrier. Right. Don't got too much heating. What? How are we going to do? We're losing all of our science. We're losing everything on all these flights. What is blowing up here? Oh my God, look at that. I'm losing the, I just lost the heat. Look, what? Look at the heat shield. What? What is happening here? Look at that. That is the strangest thing I've seen. Oh, I know what has happened. That's amazing. So we lost. So the Science Junior failed, pushed the heat shield because that's where the heat shield was, and then the heat shield flew back in aerodynamics and is now just resting right there. So when we deploy the parachutes, that heat shield should fall away. That is amazing. All right, so got to think for mission 8 of what to do here, because I'm not allowing these Science Juniors to survive re-entry. I'm gonna have to look. I guess I'm just coming in too steep. I'm not really sure what's going on and how to stabilize the vehicle with that Science Junior. All right, well, we are going to have a landing now. I'll see you on the ground. we are just about landing here. See where we end up. Might be able to get some science here. There's a bush out there. All right, so let's go ahead now and do a crew report. See where we're at here. At 1.5 science from the Highlands. Might have already done that. Let's go ahead and do an EVA. EVA report. A little bit more science. Go ahead and put him back in. And now let's recover the vehicle. So we're having an issue with the Science Junior survivability on re-entry. So for mission 8, we are going to need to rethink some of our design, or at least rethink our re-entry interface. That is what we are going to need to do. So unfortunately, we didn't gather any science. We didn't complete the contract here because none of the science survived. But we do have 128 science now. So let's go ahead and do a debriefing by going into our research and development tree. And let's look and see what we want to unlock here with 128. So we've got bigger engines, but we're not there yet. Don't need any of that, I don't think. We could do some advanced construction, get some aerodynamic cones and all of that, but I don't see the need for that right now. Okay, let's see. Better and bigger heat shields. Advanced flight control. That might be pretty good to get, so we can actually start doing some maneuvers in space and rendezvous and docking. So all right, let's see. Where is... Did we unlock it yet? I'm looking for... We have a contract to go to the surface of the moon. But we're going to need some type of landing legs. So I'm looking to see where those are at. There they are, right there. There is the basic landing legs back from when we did survivability, which might be what we need to look at doing here, because I'm struggling with the survivability on re-entry interface. So, all right, so let's go ahead though and get these legs. So these are the small landing legs. Don't have much, but let's back out of this because we had stronger landing legs here. But we haven't unlocked that, and there's really nothing here that looks like I really want it. We could start to do maneuvers in space. Well, we can unlock the landing legs. We can go ahead and just purchase those. We've already actually unlocked the tree. We just need to purchase the legs. So let's go ahead and purchase the legs. This is a smaller heat shield, radiator panels, all of that kind of stuff. We also need to update our vehicles because we did unlock better electric. So we do have solar panels, better batteries, and lights. We also need, for mission 8, we need to add those components to it also. All right, so other than that, there's these little ladders, but I don't see the purpose right now for that. Probably might need to rethink that. But we could unlock, so we know we can get to, I'm pretty sure we know we can get to the mun. Now we just need to be able to get to the surface and back with the mun. So looking at what we've got here, I think we've got all the components for the 1.25 meter components. So the single crew components, I think we've already got that. So now it is actually how we want to get down to the surface and stuff. So it might be worthwhile to get advanced flight control now. Let's go ahead and unlock that here in our mission 7 debrief. Now let's go ahead and see what we want. We've got advanced reaction wheels. So let's spend some money here. Let's go ahead and grab those. Let's grab the lander can. We're definitely going to need RCS fuel. I like that. definitely need that. And 2-person, but we're not there yet. So a 2-crew of capsule, we're not ready for that yet. So I do like all that. So let's go ahead and back out. So there we go. So not a very successful mission 7, but we know we can gather a lot of science here with the Science Junior. But for mission 8, I need to rethink the survivability of that Science Junior on re-entry. Or the other thing to think about doing is that we can actually just transmit the science back to the Space Center rather than actually trying to get it to survive re-entry. So that is what we're going to need to do for mission 8. So I am Uncle Mike, and this has been Space Xbox here on the Xbox One. So I will see you in mission 8.
It's so beautiful, you and me. We're meant to be.